So I'm making this video because it seems to me that Failed and Monster Jam are persistent on new identities always being a 3D body. Now don't get me wrong, there are 3D bodies and identities that I do love and I will mention later on in the video. But with the reveal of Wreck Deck, I don't think Wreck Deck is a good looking truck. It's a cool concept, very cool, but it's a literal skateboard. And I want to ask you guys in the comments section, is Wreck Deck a cool looking truck or a great looking truck because one, it's a new identity, or two, because it legitimately looks good? Let me know down in the comments section. But I want to go over this topic because it seems to me that old school Monster Jam was a place where trucks and SUVs actually look like trucks and SUVs. Nowadays, modern Monster Jam, everything is a 3D body. And to me, it just seems like we're going to go into a direction where in the near future, if it already isn't there, every identity is just a random 3D body. Because there is a lot of fans from old school Monster Jam, from the speed days and whatnot, that would want to see a regular pickup truck, a regular SUV, but we don't get that no more. It's always the Star Creations 3D truck, and there are some I like, so let's get into it. Now, the first truck I will start getting into is Megalodon. Megalodon, I haven't been a big fan of, but it's a 3D body. Now, there are two variants of Megalodon that I like, starting with Megalodon Fire. When I got back into Monster Jam in 2019, I thought Megalodon Fire looked beautiful, insane. It looked great. I loved the fire and truck lineup in live trucks. It looked amazing. One of my favorite variants of Megalodon. I'm not even a Megalodon fan. I don't like Megalodon, but I love the variants with the truck. Now, modern Monster Jam, what it does best that old school Monster Jam didn't do is they gave us variety. They gave us different schemes, and they gave us multiple schemes in a short amount of time. And that's one thing I will give modern Monster Jam as an old school Monster Jam fan who thinks old school Monster Jam is better. Now, Megalodon Fire, Chef's Kiss, 10 out of 10. Megalodon Stars and Stripes, Chef's Kiss, 10 out of 10. It's very un-American just because you don't like what's going on in the country to say Stars and Stripes is a bad thing to go down. No, it's 4th of July weekend. It's a 4th of July truck for World Finals 24, and I wish Feld gave us more Stars and Stripes trucks, but we don't get them. It is what it is. Moving on to the next 3D body, we got Zombie. Zombie has not been one of my favorite trucks at all. I like Bowery Musauer, and Bowery Musauer hasn't really evolved. He ain't a good driver. He's just good enough to be out there with the big guns. And I say that because he does the same thing over and over and over. If you do the two-wheel skills, guess what he's doing? He's doing a sky wheelie, he's doing a wheelie. Other than that, Bowery Musauer is washed. I'm sorry, I said it, hot take. And he's one of my favorite drivers. I've been watching him for a long time. I saw him in person multiple times. Good driver. Not the best, not the worst, but he is. But he's there. But I loved the fire variant of that truck. Again, I got back into Monster Jam in 2019, and at that time, they were doing the fire and ice trucks. And I loved the fire and ice trucks, and I will give them praise. I will glaze them. Something that modern Monster Jam, as I said before, is doing right. Other than that, it's another 3D body. And as you see in this video, I kind of have a problem with 3D bodies because some 3D bodies look good, and don't get me wrong, Megalodon, decent. Zombie, even better, in my personal opinion. And I love the fire variant, but we're moving on now. Let me talk about Elar Loco real quick. I'm going to talk about the good and bad. The old school Elar Loco looked more aggressive, and it looks way better than the new one we got. I'm not a fan of the new one, even though I have it in my Beam NG drive as a mod. I have it hanging up behind me on my diecast because I am on a mission to collect diecasts that were actually real trucks. And if they're not real trucks, I collect them as trucks I could see being real. And the old school Elar Loco, in my opinion, is always going to be superior, always going to be better. And when I got back into the sport, back in 2019, this is one of the first trucks I saw at the Oakland 2019 show, was the ICE variant of Elar Loco. These Elar Loco variants are way better, in my opinion, than the new one. And they're going to say they got rid of it because it kept breaking up, the nose kept breaking up in skills. And I get that. But why purchase a company where things constantly break? It just seems to me like they want to save money, and as a business, yeah, you want to save money, but in doing so, they murdered one of my favorite identities of all time, and they got rid of a classic, the GOAT, the legend, Elar Loco, pre-modern day Monster Jam. Rest in peace, Elar Loco. You'll never be forgotten. You'll always be better than the inferior product. This brings me to my next point, and I say this because old school Monster Jam in terms of identities is like an episode of SpongeBob. In this episode of SpongeBob, there was two establishments. There was Weenie Hut Juniors and then the Salty Spittoon. The Salty Spittoon, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, correct me in the comment section, was a hardcore version of Weenie Hut Juniors. It's where all the thugs, the quote-unquote criminals, hung out. And this is what I like to call old school Monster Jam, where every identity, even though a new one, still looked like a regular truck. It looked more aggressive. It looked like adults and kids can fall in love with it. Because when I was a kid, there was no 3D bodies besides Maximum Destruction. Other than that, I loved every truck, and I wanted to collect them. I didn't need Monster Jam to be a literal kids commercial as it is today to get me to buy the diecast. I'll collect 164 diecast until the day I die. Why? I love Monster Jam. I love the sport. But now you have new school Monster Jam with the 3D identities that in the same episode of SpongeBob, we get Weenie Hut Juniors, which in my opinion represents modern day Monster Jam, with everything being a kid's truck or a 3D body. Come on, Feld, give us a pickup truck. Give us a SUV panel body, whatever. But it brings me to my point because Elar Loco has been kidified. It's been kidified. It's no longer an aggressive looking bull. It's a kid bull, and it's smaller to save money on fiberglass, whatnot, whatever. I don't like the new version. The old version to me is always going to be more superior. But moving on to the next truck, we're going to talk about JCB Diggatron. This is one of my favorite 3D bodies done right. Why? Because it's construction equipment, and I work in construction. I see these things all day. I like that it's a Bobcat on wheels. It looks great. It looks amazing. One of my favorite 3D bodies done right, and I love the warning lights on top of the truck. Looks cool. Looks amazing. This is where I have to give Feld some props because it looks like an actual construction truck. Very beautiful. Now let's move on to the Monster Mutts. When I got back into the sport, Monster Mutt was another identity. I think it was Monster Mutt Dalmatian that was at Oakland 2019 that I saw in person. This was my first time in the sport in 10 years because the last time I was in Oakland was in 2008, 2009. But they look like actual wild dogs. I like it. I like Monster Mutt. I like Monster Mutt Dalmatian as a 3D body. Looks amazing. Looks epic. Another 10 out of 10 from Feld. Perfect inclusion of a 3D body. It looks right. It looks perfect. I wish Monster Mutt Dalmatian, or not Dalmatian, I wish Monster Mutt Junkyard Dog got more limelight instead of a few show appearances. And I wish Monster Mutt Wattweiler was put into the main stadium shows, but they're not. It is what it is. And allegedly, Rec Deck is replacing the Monster Mutts. I hope that's not the case. Allegedly, so don't take what I'm saying with factuality to it. There's not much to it. I heard it from another YouTube channel. I'll link it down in the description. I just wish the Monster Mutts in terms of Wattweiler and Junkyard Dog got more shine in the stadium shows, but that's a 3D body done right. Let's move on to another one. Let's move on to Lucas Oil Stabilizer. Another 3D body that, in my opinion, is done right. It's a literal semi-truck, and I drive semi-trucks in real life in terms of construction. I love it. I love the horn. I love the lights. Very good truck, and it's a 3D body done right, done well. Let's move on to Thundersaurus Rex, and guess what? Another 3D body. See my point here, guys? Too many 3D bodies. None of these trucks look like actual trucks you see in real life. Now, I say this because when it comes to the independents are the only ones giving us legitimate SUVs and trucks. And that brings me on to my next point. This is a 3D body done right, in my opinion. Let's look at Kraken. I like Kraken. Kraken is one of my favorite 3D bodies done right. It's a little bit 3D body, and it's a little bit SUV. It's an Escalade, and it's an Escalade Cadillac that has a Kraken sticking at the back of it. 3D body done right, perfectly, chef's kiss. And my point here is Feld is insistent on just 3D bodies, 3D bodies, 3D bodies, but Feld. Not everything needs to be a 3D body. Let's bring on some more independents here. Another independent truck I like that's not a 3D body is Jester. Jester is growing on me. Nothing wrong with 3D bodies, but when every identity coming out of failed and Monster Jam every year is a 3D body, it kind of just ruins it for me. Because, oh, they're going to say it's just for kids, man. It's just for kids. Now, let me go on to a little tangent, a little side rant. Nothing wrong with marketing to the kids. There's nothing wrong. But when your whole show becomes a market towards kids, and with this upcoming World's Final stunt, it's just a promotion for a kid's toy set. When I was a kid, I didn't need none of that. I still wanted to buy the 1/64 diecast. Monster Jam and Failed are insistent on 3D body galore. In 5 years, if it already doesn't look like it, every identity besides Gravedigger and besides the Independence is going to be a 3D body, with Gravedigger being the longest running regular truck in Monster Jam history. Other than that, every other truck is going to be a 3D body. You see my point here? 20 years ago, you wouldn't have a whole field of 3D bodies. There was some 3D bodies. There was some, but not every identity out of Monster Jam was a 3D body. Oh yeah, but the kids, man, the kids. Most of the Monster Jam YouTubers, and I'm not sending shots, I'm not starting drama, but most of the Monster Jam YouTubers are either young adults or teenagers. And in my opinion, this is the core demographic of Monster Jam. They always say the kids, the kids, the kids. But most people who are watching Monster Jam aren't even kids. They don't even have phones if their parents are good. They have Monster Jam diecasts. But Monster Jam's core audience, in my honest opinion, are young adults or teenagers. And yet we get 3D body galore. 3D body, 3D body, 3D body. And I know I keep saying 3D body, but it's just like the new Rec Deck reveals a literal skateboard. It looks cool and all, but it's lazy. It's bare minimum. And it's a sponsored truck. Will Monster Jam ever return to the SUV trucks? Will they ever return to the pickup trucks? Are they only going to return to it if it's a Blue Thunder F-150 pickup truck sponsored truck? Maybe. But it's just like every new identity in new school Monster Jam, modern Monster Jam, has been a 3D body. Kraken is a 3D body done right. You got half of an SUV that you can see the brand of SUV it's from, and then, oh, Kraken. I think Kraken's a great looking truck. Another truck I think is great looking, that's a 3D body, is Earthshaker. It's a dump truck, and it looks cool, and it looks good, but it's a 3D body done right. But we just got this galore of 3D bodies, Monster Jam. Give us something new, and not new in 3D body, give us a pickup truck. And to either further my point about it being a kid's commercial, the old school Surge of Fortune, before it was retired, had a gun on it. And for some reason, they removed it. Why? Because the kids. Failed is just persistent on taking things from Monster Jam that make it more kidified. I don't need Weenie Hut Jr. trucks no more, Monster Jam. I need some actual trucks that look like they're actual trucks. The Independents are dominating in this aspect. Wildside is a regular pickup truck. Jester, as I have mentioned before, is a regular SUV. Overboard is a regular old school SUV. But other than that, it's all 3D bodies. And I'm just like, okay, Monster Jam, I'm full. I'm not hungry no more. Give us something that's true to what Monster Jam used to be. Not 99% of your trucks don't have to be a 3D body, man. Like I said, the 3D bodies I do like, JCB Digatron, done right, done well, amazing. Mwah. Chef's kiss. The Monster Mutts, chef's kiss. Mwah. But ever since we got on this 3D craze, we're not going to go back to it. And the future of Monster Jam, in my opinion, is just all these trucks are going to be kids' trucks or sponsored trucks. And we're never going to see, besides Gravedigger, a regular SUV or a pickup truck. Unless it's an independent. Why are you complaining, Critical Creeper? I'm not complaining. I'm just having an honest opinion. And just because you don't like my opinion, it doesn't mean I'm complaining. What other Monster Jam commentator is giving you their raw, honest opinions? And not just a raw, honest opinion or news, but their personal opinion. And it might rub shoulders the wrong way, but I'm only saying this because these are my honest thoughts. I'm not trying to get their popular opinion put on the pedestal. I'm giving you guys what I think. And if you guys like what I think, I appreciate it. But I get all these people talking about you complain so much, and it's just like they think I'm complaining so much that even in this own video, the video I'm recording right now, the video you're watching right now, they're gonna say I complain too much when I said 5 or 10 different things I like about some of the 3D identities or what modern Monster Jam is doing right. But that's all I gotta say about the 3D bodies. Do you guys like the 3D bodies? Do you guys like Rec Deck, a literal skateboard? Well, before I end the video, look at this 3D image I had ChatGPT pull up for me before I end the video. You have a truck. I said generate a truck that says Rec Deck on it, and then put a half pipe in the pickup truck. And for some reason, it kept generating this massive, humongous half pipe. I don't know why. And then when I said make it smaller, it legitimately made it smaller. Whatever. But you get the concept. It's a regular pickup truck, and it could have put a skateboard in the back along with that half pipe. Just chop that half pipe in half, and it would look great. It would look like a skateboard truck, but most importantly, it would be a regular pickup truck with a little bit of 3Dism added to it. But other than that, it's just like we can get trucks like this, but no, we get 3D bodies. So with that, that's the end of the video. What do you guys think about Monster Jam's craze with the 3D bodies? Do you guys like the 3D bodies? What are some of your favorite 3D bodies? My personal favorite as a 3D body is Byakugan Dragonoid, one of my favorite 3D bodies to ever come out, along with JCB Digatron. But let me know down in the comment section the ones you love or dislike. Comment, like, share, and subscribe for more. Critical Creeper